Alright. Cope and Seethe uploaded a new video. Someone sent this to me about the Kim Possible stuff. We watched the Kim Possible response she did. I didn't cover the original Saberspark allegations when they happened. But essentially the gist of it is Kim Possible was one of the people involved in releasing allegations against Saberspark that were very flimsy and unverified about sexual assault and other stuff, and she tried to insinuate that he was like inappropriate towards people that were minors, which is very vague, but everything is bullshit. All of it's false. And Kim Possible made a video under the disguise of trying to apologize for what she did, but then she completely doubles down on everything, which makes her apology such bullshit. And Cope and Seethe released a new video called I Love Kim Possible Lies a Lot. So yeah, we can definitely watch this. I want to see how she lies. I might have missed some stuff.
Hi everyone, welcome to the video.
ILoveKimPossibleALot has finally released her response video, and to the surprise of precisely nobody, she has learnt nothing from this entire saga.
Yeah, I mean, she doubles down on fake sexual assault allegations, and she got a lot of information wrong. Like, she definitely is just not somebody that should be handling these issues whatsoever. Like, she's clearly way too immature for her own good, and she probably deserves some level of repercussions, because releasing false sexual assault allegations like this is fucking, like, insane. And she irreparably damaged Saberspark's career.
Now, normally, I'd just do a stream segment and go over it, have a laugh, make some super chats, but in this case, I'm actually so annoyed by this response video that I think KP deserves something all to herself. So what we're going to do today is not just go over her response, but I'm also going to release many of the interview segments that for one reason or another were never included in the original video.
Oh, okay, so she didn't address certain parts from, like, Cope and Seethe, because I know Cope and Seethe did some interviews. I never got around to watching them. But maybe, yeah, I'd be curious to hear what she left out of her video, because it definitely feels like she wasn't being fully honest, and she kept doubling down when she clearly was not in the right whatsoever.
As well as my DMs with KP, because I want to give you a glimpse behind the curtain. A peek into who KP really is. Because this woman is lying to you, and if she's not going to tell you the truth, then I will. Let's get into it.
Alright, let's get fucking started.
Let's begin by talking about KP's response video itself, because it's actually a fairly wild ride of deflection. KP begins the video by taking accountability for at least the tone of the content. You know, that thing precisely 5 people cared about, one of whom was Brony Fandon't? If you're wondering whether KP...
Isn't Brony Brony Fandon't is like a weird fucking person that, like, virtue signals about bad behavior, but also had, like, lolicon or whatever, it's, like, stored, and they were justifying lolicon to some capacity. So, yeah, call was coming from the house, I guess.
He really addresses the actual issues people have with her? The answer is, of course she doesn't. In fact, if anything, she actually doubles down and adds new, unheard accusations into her response for some reason.
Yeah, that was fucking wild.
The same server also has a man accused of and arrested of child grooming.
I literally looked this guy up. She's, like, not, like, she got this completely wrong. I looked it up. He was arrested for, CP. That was what he was actually arrested for. I looked up the charges that he had. And I don't think I could show that in a YouTube video, obviously. I can't show, like, the actual, like, page. I'm playing it safe, but that's based on what I found, based on the area, his full name, and, like, whatever. And also, child grooming is not a charge you can get in the US. I know that sounds fucked up, but child grooming as a charge legally does not exist. Only if something sexual happens with a child is that would be a crime.
Now, I personally have never looked into the DA game's story, and I don't intend to start now, but what is interesting here is that KP just cannot help herself. She is basically a female Just a Robot, unable to contain her vindictive rage against the people she feels have wronged her.
I mean, I could see an argument for it. I don't know if I'd put her on the same level as Just a Robot. Just a Robot literally just does not know when to shut the fuck up. Like, he literally runs his mouth, and he has no self-awareness. Like, Just a Robot is like that awkward kid at school that makes a joke that no one laughs at. And he thought it was funny, and he thought he was doing something. That's, like, the kind of kid that Just a Robot is. And I don't know if KP is at that level. She's definitely, like, very antisocial, though. Like, she definitely strikes me as someone who doesn't have a lot of social skills.
Once again, KP just throws this accusation out there in a trust me bro moment, and Firstly, I'm not even sure what the accusation is. KP, are you claiming that Will and DA Games are knowingly harboring sexual predators for some reason? This, of course, is just the beginning of the problem because—
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I looked at everything. There are, like, that Will guy or whatever, there was, like, a guy named Will who said some very weird shit. I don't know if it was enough to say that he was actually, like, grooming children. But, like, I don't know, it's certainly a red flag, I'd say, based on the way he was talking to some of them. But there's no evidence that anything actually happened, so I'm not going to run with the claim that Will is definitively a child groomer because I didn't look into it. I don't know. But based on what I saw so far, it's a little strange, to say the least. And then obviously the SaberSpark stuff is completely, like, unproven and false.
Because you can't trust KP. She lies all the time. For example, let's just look at how she frames the story with Chris.
Not to mention the fact that Chris himself has admitted to and bragged about a little sex crime that Steven brushed off as a sex joke.
That's another thing. She, like, shows proof, like, for a split second, so, like, people don't actually pause to analyze it. But if you actually, like, read through everything, you'll realize, yeah, no, some of this is not the way you were, like, showing it.
KP is lying to you here. Once again, firstly, Chris apologized to KP about 2 years ago. And secondly, this was a joke. But with Chris, you've got literally the reverse of that situation where he does admit it's a fuck up, says that he's sorry. And it's like, that feels like it's not enough 2 years later. So, yeah, I kind of want to be clear about that, because I think that's something that you are going to catch flack for. Chris made up a gross story, and I'd argue to bear in mind, this was over a decade ago. Yet, KP chooses to reframe this here into a sex crime. There is a whole section in the first video where KP and I talk about Chris, but make no mistake, KP wants to see this man fired and his entire life ruined for it. This section also lets us move on to SaberSpark, because not only is KP not sorry for leveling false rape accusations against him, she also starts claiming he was abused as a child, showing a screenshot that does not say that, as some sort of bizarre weaponized gotcha.
And once again, for someone who not very long ago had plenty to say on whether Gabriel Brown was or wasn't a groomer.
I rarely get involved with these things, but my reputation is worth anything, and then I'll use to say the following. It was all on the level. You're right. Claire had a crush on Gabe, but Gabe never reciprocated until she was around 20 or so. It's weird, but it was legal. Okay, yeah. Sure. And also, the proof that she used... I didn't stop to analyze this screenshot. I just talked about the Black Griffin situation because I already had an idea of it, and I didn't really feel the need to pause and analyze this. But yeah, no. Wow, okay. So you literally just stopped to pause to see what KP is talking about, and you realize, wow, the screenshot does not reflect at all what she is saying. Wow, her credibility is down the fucking drain at this point.
That child predation online is terrible.
Not that it wasn't already there already, but still.
And he himself has been abused as a child. It seems odd that he has nothing to say. That child predation online is terrible, and he himself...
It's a terrible situation of bad faith actors who are claiming to know the truth. To answer your question, I do not support groomer sexual assault, something that unfortunately me and my family know all too well, and I die sooner. Yeah, we don't know the extent of the sexual assault. Like, SaberSpark barely elaborated on it. He said me and my family. Like, he didn't go too deep into it. That doesn't necessarily mean that he was familiar. I mean, he says he's familiar with it, but we don't know, like, the extent of the family. Like, it's a very vague thing that SaberSpark says. Like, we don't know the extent of it.
Has been abused as a child.
Yeah, he doesn't mention anywhere that he's a child during the sexual assault, so that's, yeah. Wow. I don't know, like, KP is just so careless with the lies that she gives out. Like, she just throws shit at the wall because she's fucking bored. And she has nothing else to do, and she doesn't have anyone to talk to in her real life.
It seems odd that he has nothing to say about his own employees' child predation, even to condemn it, let alone him excusing masturbation.
Oh, yeah, and then she made up this, like, weird argument that fucking SaberSpark did nothing about it, even though he literally DM'd the people involved to try to get the full story, which is the correct thing to do, by the way. That is, like, the thing that you should be doing when you hear an allegation, is you should be getting the story and not blindly believing the accuser or the person that is being accused. You try to get the story and come to a reasonable conclusion based on what you have. SaberSpark did that, and he did pretty much everything right, and KP tried to make it seem like he didn't do that, so good job, KP.
Onto a stranger's clothes, a biohazard, and sexual harassment as a joke.
Now, right from the off, KP has always been looking for a way to go at SaberSpark. Not just with the accusations themselves, but even in my early conversations with her, KP seems to view the potential of SaberSpark's guilt as a potential way for her to save herself.
Is there any other alarming behavior that Sabers displayed publicly, not anything like this obviously, but like that is displayed publicly, like anyway, that people are concerned about?
Honestly, I mean, Saber seems to me, having gone through kind of what's in front of me, a bit of an asshole. But he's a YouTuber. That's not unusual. But not really. I can't. No one else I've seen is making any claims against Saber or anywhere near the fucking nature of the Emmy claims. From his perspective, I can see.
No. I can. No, I just feel bad.
At the time, I read this as some kind of genuine remorse, but as things have moved on, it is abundantly clear that KP is not sorry in the least. This bitch is not sorry for what she did to Saberspark. She's sorry it didn't work.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, her fucking video that she put out pretty much communicates that to me completely. And she, like I said, she disguises it as taking accountability for what she does, but then she fucking just completely doubles down on every accusation. Hey, I'm sorry that I falsely accused a man of sexual assault, but by the way, he did all those things of sexual assault. Nice.
We'll get into this further later, but one of KP's big problems is that she is completely delusional. During our conversations, I basically had to lay out very clearly the situation she and others had created for themselves in going after Saberspark in this way. I know that there is still an interest from other people in going after Saber and going after the DA Games group. I think those people are mental, if I'm honest. I think that the reality is that a video like this very much gives Saber carte blanche. In the eyes of a lot of people. It's an unsubstantiated rape allegation. He's a victim of that. He is an actual victim. Which means now anyone who produces a hit piece on Saber, the immediate response to that from basically anyone who's not ingrained in the I Hate Saber crowd is going to be, you're making a hit piece on somebody with who's had false rape accusations against them. That's like sort of like the line, and that is rough content.
It's tough to sell that point completely, Cope and Seethe. Like, I could see an argument for it, but also, like, the internet is just so bloodthirsty when it comes to sexual assault allegations in, like, so many different spheres that people just blindly believe. Here's the thing. You have two different spectrums of this, two extreme ends of spectrums. You have one extreme end where people are going to blindly believe allegations regardless of what's out there. They probably didn't only read, like, maybe, like... Or they probably only looked into, like, maybe 10 or 15% of what the story was and then came to a conclusion based on what they saw and then didn't bother reading anything else. Or you have people that are so black-pilled on allegations because, like, all it takes is, like, one or two false allegations to be completely, like, every single allegation online is false now. You have that extreme end where people are just going to deny allegations regardless of what they see, and then you have the other extreme end where people just blindly believe it. And obviously you're going to have some reasonable people on the internet that actually want to engage with it in good faith and come to a conclusion based off of that, right? You'll have like a nice in-between. I try my best to do that in between. I know Cope and Seethe try, like, based on what I've seen, I don't watch him like that much, but based on what I've seen, he tries to have that nice in between as well. I mean, he does interviews. He actually, like, tries to get as much information as possible. He's got some stuff to do, right? And I can respect that. But with, like, KP, she obviously did this because she saw, like I said, she has, like, 123,000 subscribers, but only, like, on a good day can get, like, 5K views. And she probably thought that this would boost her fucking viewage again by coming forward with this, and so she thought she could accuse Saberspark of doing this shit. And then it wound up backfiring when Saberspark clapped back with his response, and it just didn't work out. Yeah, false accusations are no bueno.
Produce. It makes him a very difficult target if somebody did want to go after him, so we'll see. Some people don't care about that. A lot of people are more optics brained than they want to admit to. Now at this point, you may be wondering why simple concepts like Saberspark's going to get a lot of grace because you falsely accused him of rape need to be explained to KP like she's a mentally stunted 5-year-old. And that sounds mean, but I'm just giving a description here. KP, to be fair to her, is a trust fund kid nearing 40 who still lives at home with her mother.
She's near 40? Oh, that's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. I didn't think KP was, like, near 40. That's kind of wild. And about the trust fund thing, I know there are some people who, usually when you hear trust fund, at least when I hear of it, I think of people who are in, like, the IDD community, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It's not always for people in the IDD community, so does KP have, like, a disability or something that warrants having the trust fund?
She doesn't really have any normal human interactions. In fact, as far as anybody is aware, this woman has never had a long-term relationship, so it probably shouldn't come as much of a surprise that her understanding of normal human interactions are somewhat lacking.
Oh, okay, so she's just super terminally online, I guess. Fair enough, I guess.
May go some way.
I mean, like I said, I hardly have any sympathy for KP because KP is just a fucking horrible person who tried to ruin a man's life with false sexual assault allegations.
Explaining why, in KP's response video, she completely fails to understand why Saberspark is getting so much quote-unquote grace. Saberspark showed evidence not just of his DMs with Emmy displaying what their relationship looked like, but also evidence of how far he was prepared to go to prove his innocence. KP highlights the fact that Saberspark makes a mistake regarding the timeline in my interview with him.
When given his own testimony on the accusations leveled against him, his own lapses in memory are not painted as proof of malicious lie. His own incorrect recollection of events, as proved by the screenshots he himself provided, are not painted as proof of a malicious lie.
However, what KP completely fails to acknowledge is it doesn't matter, because Saberspark has also got the DMs. We can check in real time whether he is telling the truth. You can misspeak in an interview, it's okay. What you can't do is lie repeatedly in statements, which is what Emmy has done. KP also focuses in on the fact that there was some kind of relationship, so surely that means that something must have happened. And this is why I mentioned earlier that KP doesn't seem to have had any long-term relationships. The only way this dumb as rocks femcel can read human interactions is in some way...
Jesus Christ! Dumb as rocks femcel. Oh my god. That's fucking... Holy shit, dude. Cope and Seethe is kind of being a little bit brutal here. Fuck.
Aggressive. Now, I'm not just saying this without any kind of grounding. KP seems to have a long history of making accusations against people.
Is that KP in real life? There's no way this is KP in real life. What? This is not KP in real life. It's crazy work.
Predominantly that people are in some way attracted to her. Something that she... Yeah.
Wait, what was that?
Any kind of grounding. KP seems to have a long history of making accusations against people, predominantly that people are in some way attracted to her. Something that she, yes, does here in her response video.
This led to a good number of people speaking down to me, harassing me, and sending me death threats largely based on the assumption that I was a bitter, jealous, stupid woman targeting an innocent, successful, intelligent man for the sin of not dating me. To which I'd like to respond by saying, Steven, I'm just not that into you.
Well, I'm sure Steven isn't into you either, and this whole response that you did was incredibly tone-deaf.
KP is obsessed with the idea that people must be attracted to her and must like her. In fact, during my conversations with her, despite the fact that I'm making a drama commentary video on her, she starts asking me, what would it take for me to watch her content again? Go on.
Well, you were
Okay.
you were a fan of the content before, like, controversies happened, right? Like, would you go out of your way to watch a video that wasn't about controversy that I made, like, randomly?
I mean, I liked some of the analysis stuff which was negative. I find media analysis...
Oh, you could just say, listen, Cope and Seethe, you could literally just tell her you didn't want to watch the content. You could be real. I know you're... I don't know. I feel like sometimes people in interviews, and to an extent you kind of have to do this when you're interviewing someone, is you kind of have to give them like a bit of a false sense of security, even if you're interviewing a not so great person like KP. So it's possible that Cope and Seethe probably did this to, like, I guess so that KP wouldn't just leave the call so he could get some more content and, like, I guess her testimony to use in, like, a future video. It's possible that he did it that way, and I guess if that's the case, then fair enough, but, yeah, I don't know. I really wish, like... Part of me really wishes Cope and Seethe kind of just, like, went off on KP, you know what I mean?
Generally,
but I guess we have a chance to do that in this video, so it works out in the end.
I used to watch a lot of media analysis stuff. People like Ralph the Movie Maker. It is worth noting here, of course, I had explained to her that my interest in her content and why I knew her was purely based on the horse news drama back in the day, and I should be clear, that's a drama about her not paying her employees, something she still doesn't understand as an issue to this day. But given that KP seems to have no issues with spreading allegations based on rumors, I think we should talk about the other occasion when KP spread false sexual harassment allegations about some.
Oh, wait, is there another? Is she not, like, was Saberspark not the only one? I know with fucking Brony Fandote, he was involved, or that fucking person was involved with the Black Griffin allegations. in which Black Griffin just completely fucking, I don't know if Black Griffin is or isn't guilty. Some people were saying he got with the fucking, it was the voice actress for Sweetie Belle from My Little Pony when she was like 16 and Black Griffin was like 25. Obviously, if that is true, that's fucked up and that's really disgusting. But obviously, it's unproven. Also, Sweetie Belle insists, the voice actress insists on not being a grooming victim. Apparently earlier in this video, Saberspark said that he didn't, like, reciprocate feelings until, she was 20, which is still very weird and immature. But at the very least, she's a legal adult by that point, and she has autonomy over herself, so, you know, at that point it would be fine, I guess, but still, I don't know. That's where the accusation of grooming came in, but Brony Van Don't is also not exactly a good faith actor in this story, so...
Now, I didn't include this in the first video because I can't fully evidence it, but I was told this story with remarkable detail by 3 separate people. And the TLDR is that while at a convention...
Do they all, I assume that they all give, like, the same testimony, roughly the same, without knowing each other, right?
...in the 2010s, KP was walked back to her hotel by one of the con staff. She would then spin this into him sexually harassing her, as he was clearly...
Wait, I need to listen to this again, I'm so sorry.
TLDR is that while at a convention in the 2010s, KP was walked back to her hotel by one of the con staff. She would then spin this into him sexually harassing her, as he was clearly deeply in love with her. And while no logs...
Shit, man. I mean, who wouldn't be deeply in love with someone working that job?
...for this story exist, I did ask KP about it, to which she responded, shockingly, by talking about one of her former editors. Just how many accusations has this psycho put out there?
Hey.
So, wait, she talks about allegations about her former editor, a former, what is it, con staff, or whatever the fuck that job's name is? Fuck, I don't know. I don't even know myself. And then, with Saberspark, and I'm just like, okay, so this woman is just careless with the amount of allegations she just throws out there. Cool. Nice.
Thanks for talking to me.
Alright.
This woman is pushing 40, by the way. Like, she apparently is, like, in her late 30s doing this shit.
So I'm totally blindsided by Casey's take on me. Like, I wish if I was coming off that way, she would have told me. So I was wondering...
Yeah, well, you didn't fucking tell Saberspark when you were pushing out allegations either. I don't think you have much room to... I don't think you exactly have much room to be playing the victim here, KP.
If you had any, like, additional information about that, because I'm, like...
Sure.
Horrified, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, I don't blame you for finding that kind of a bit blindsiding, because I think it's difficult. So, I mean, I can give you my take generally, because I think part of this comes down to, like, how the fandom worked, and the fact that it was very non-confrontational. But I think
it's such a, like a historian answer, but okay.
Well, I think part of it is, like, it's difficult, because I see people all the time where they're like, oh, I didn't realize that I wasn't, like, clicking with people, and some of it was... It's a good way to describe some of the stories. Like, some of it was stuff where it was just, like, you missed social cues with people.
I do definitely get the vibe that KP probably has the tism. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but it's like based on like her mannerisms, the way she talks and the way she communicates information. It's kind of like, I guess, the level of Just a Robot. So I guess I could see Cope and C's argument for being a female Just a Robot. I still think Just a Robot is more pathetic than KP. And Just a Robot didn't even fucking give false sexual assault allegations. He just tried to simp for somebody who has grooming allegations against them, so...
How many people did you talk to about this? I'm a little concerned.
Well, I mean, I wanted to get, like, a full picture, and also there were some claims about you which I thought were, you know, it needed substantiating, because I didn't think they were fair to you. And I mentioned the essay story from one of the cons, which was mentioned to me by a few people, and I saw mentions of just when I was going through sort of, like, general takes on your history, which I can't substantiate, there's no logs for.
For Emmy?
No, there was a claim that while you were at one of the cons, one of the staff offered to walk you back to the hotel room, and then you basically said that this person was going to essay you.
What the fuck is going on?
She realizes she can't keep up the lie, and so she's like she's face palming because she's like, oh fuck, what do I say to him? What do I say to him? Fuck, how do I make my story consistent? Oh my god, oh, people are catching on to me. Oh my god, they're catching on to all my lies. This is the fucking panic mode for somebody who lost.
I don't know what that is. I would need more information.
I can
Oh wow. Oh my god. Listen, if somebody was about to sexually assault you, or you were getting sexually assaulted, I'm pretty sure that is so traumatic you would remember it, right? So the fact that you says, I'm gonna need more information on this, leads me to believe that you're probably not telling the truth.
a dig. I mean, I have heard it from a few people, so I don't know whether it's a rumor or something that's spiraled. But yeah, I
The
mean...
only thing I think it could be is, after the drama I had, after my first thing, Bob, I had an editor, Jordan, who got very attached to me in an unhealthy way, and when I kind of
Oh my god, here's the fucking allegation about the editor this time, it's completely unrelated to what fucking Cope and Seethe originally asked her, dude. Holy shit, bro. She is fucking destroying the shit out of herself.
come off, he lashed out. I think he made a video, he went to Horse News, like the whole thing. And I think I told BabsCon staff, was this at BabsCon, out of curiosity?
I'm not sure. I'd have to go and check my notes. This is actually the last conversation I would ever have with KP. It occurred on the 24th, shortly after the release of my first video, because what really surprised KP was finding out that nobody liked her. And if I'm to give you a flavor of this interview, it's basically me explaining to an adult woman why she has been, for her whole life, unable to make any actual friends. I mean, I think the big thing was, like, Casey was just sad, more than anything else.
Well, I mean, that's kind of my frustration with it, because part of it is, like, this would have been helpful if I knew what the elephant in the room is, but, like, I know Casey means well, but it's kind of insulting that...
It's insulting to you when you're the one that's making false accusations about people? You're the one that's insulted?
I'm just so clueless and dumb, apparently, that she needs to mentor me without even having that direct conversation.
Well, like, I think one of the stories I heard was, like, your relationship with, Jeff. Which was...
Jeff?
Yeah, Ace Best.
Oh, okay.
And it's like... It seemed like you didn't understand why he didn't want to be friends, or why he just didn't click with you. Like, this seemed to cause, like, a bit of drama.
No, it was more than that, because... I think I just asked for something more casual than that. And he got really mad because I had to make him be direct. But like that was what I mean. Like even before all this, like Casey kind of talked to me like, you know, there are some learning steps, and I'm just like, Casey, like can you politely get my side before you assume what is happening? So...
Dude, the lack of self-awareness on this chick is fucking mind-blowing. But I wouldn't expect anything less from somebody who has a fucking trust fund and literally... I don't... Listen, I'm not dissing anybody in the IDD community, of course. Like, I'm not trying to be ableist. So I don't know if that's the reason she has her trust fund, but the fact that she's, like, pushing 40 and she still lives with her parents... And she doesn't she probably has never... I'm convinced that KP has probably never worked any real job in her life. She's never done any, like, meaningful work in her life whatsoever. And I'm very convinced that that's the case, because, like, she clearly does not understand human interaction in the slightest, and Cope and Seethe is really just... He's really showcasing how she's just fucking... just rattling her credibility completely.
Oh, I don't know. That's an aside.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult. I mean, Emmy was part of this circuit for a while, and you said last night in DMs, you were like, oh, well, it never occurred to me to ask Casey about Emmy. And when we spoke, like, the first time, and I was like, well, you knew it was Emmy from the start, why didn't you look into her? And again, this isn't just you. No one's looked into fucking anybody in this, so this isn't just a you problem. But, like, why do you think it is that you never thought to, like, look into, or ask anyone about Emmy?
I think I made the assumption that, like, because I know a lot of other girls, not a lot, a handful of girls this has happened to, but girls sometimes tend to fade out of the fandom because there's issues with harassment in general. Like, you know, Yeah, and things like that. So I
Did you guys catch that? Oh my god, she was like really thinking about what she wanted to say. She says like, and she was about to give an I'm gonna play that one more time. She was about to give an example. Hold on.
harassment in general, like, you know.
Hold on. No. Go back.
I think I made the assumption that, like, because I know a lot of other girls, not a lot, a handful of girls this has happened to, but girls sometimes tend to fade out of the fandom because there's issues with harassment in general, like, you know, yeah, and things like that. So I
She had to stop herself from making another false accusation because she knows she's fucked and her credibility is so low. She had to stop herself. She was about to give her an example. Did you guys fucking hear that? She really wanted to fucking, like, give another accusation, but she completely stopped herself because she knew she was gonna get even more fucked if she did.
assumed she was part of a pattern, I guess, and she just kind of, like, distanced herself from her pony friends because this thing happened and it upset her. It made her think of what she's claiming. So, if that makes any sense.
In the case of KP, it is always someone else's fault. She is always the victim. And the reason I include this is because it brings me on to why I am leaking my DMs with KP. Now, normally I have a pretty hard rule about not doing this, but in this case, I actually feel like my hand is being forced a little bit. KP presents my coverage as deeply biased in favor of Saberspark, which, I mean, I'm biased by the fact that he's innocent, sure, but there is something deeper here. The actual reason KP stopped talking to me. It's because her current response video is not the one she was planning to make. In fact, originally, she planned to go after Casey. Apparently, she wasn't—
Hold on, let me read this. Okay, so this was during June earlier this year. Hey, I want to get, KP, hey, I want to get your opinion on what to do with Casey. Cope and Seethe, or I guess Beckett is his name. Well, I mean, can you reach out to her? I think everyone is just dealing out with things, but see what happens after your next Saber vid is out. I mean more, like, what's your read? I don't think she wants to talk to me. Beckett, I mean, I'm guessing not, but what's your goal? Patching things up. KP, no. I'm honestly really uncomfortable with how Casey characterized me, but I don't know if it's worth a try from perspective. Oh, I think my read is that KP wanted Beckett, or I guess Cope and Seethe, to believe her charitably on, like, these allegations, but Cope and Seethe is not really, like, obviously he's a content creator that, like, does this for his main content. Like, he does, like, drama slop and allegations and online art community, all that good stuff, right? Cope and Seethe is not gonna fucking risk his credibility on allegations that are flimsy at best, and KP clearly doesn't fucking, have, like, a good hand here, so, I don't know. Yeah, KP really, good try, KP.
happy with the way that Casey had characterized her, but having spent hours talking to KP, I'm going to be honest with you, if anything, Casey was way too nice. Behind the scenes through this entire thing, KP,
I really don't want to be friends with Casey after this anyways. Figured it would be the adult thing to do after I spawned publicly. Girl, you don't know what the fucking adult thing to do is. Like, you've never had any human interaction. How the fuck would you know what adult thing is? Like, you're pushing 40 and you still live with your parents. Fuck out of here. Beckett, you can try reaching out, though I have to be honest, it sounds like you haven't learned much from any of this, KP. I mean, you seem fine with Emmy at this point and flip sides on a dime. I'm not saying anything, but you in the next vid really, cause it's not relevant. But you went and made peace with someone making false rape accusations without even waiting to see if there was proof of it. Kinda nuts, honestly. KP, right, no. I just wanted to hear her out, but I'm definitely not friends with Emily. I'm just trying to fill the gaps and make an informed decision. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, KP is so fucking irresponsible. Holy fuck. This girl, she is like an immature, terminally online, nearly 40-year-old woman. By the way, just to be clear, just for context. Beckett, well, you went and spoke to her, and now you're coming to me about taking shots at Casey for getting mad at you. What am I meant to think? Yeah, true.
has been flip-flopping between different sides depending on who's speaking to her. And these DMs come shortly after KP had had a conversation with Emily, in which I've been reliably informed by the third party she completely rolled over. At one point, and bear in mind that this is second-hand testimony for which I can't present any evidence because the call wasn't recorded, KP said that she didn't have any
Okay, fair enough. I mean, to be fair, Cope and Seethe, you have like a million times more credibility than KP does at this point. So, like, Like, if you give a testimony, I'm not going to take it as 100% fact, but I am going to be more inclined to believe you, generally.
Empathy for Saberspark, as the allegations were being treated as no big deal, while the harassment her and Emmy were receiving was far worse. This also goes somewhere.
Yeah, like I said, that just shows a complete fucking lack of self-awareness from KP's part.
Explain why it's taken so long for KP to actually respond.
Okay, Beckett. Oh yeah, so, KP says it took a while to respond because she wanted to have, like, a more informed thing to say. That was her fucking words, but the reality is she just got a lot of backlash. She tried to make it seem like that wasn't the case. Alright, Beckett. Well, my question would be why? Of all the criticism, I think Casey, from a public perspective, would be bottom of the list. Like, there are so many things before that. If you want to sort things out with Casey because she was your friend, that's one thing. But if you're worried about the public perception, I wouldn't even address it. It's a nothing complaint about you compared to everything else. KP, I understand that, but I am asking you about Casey specifically because you already talked to her. I guess that's a fair point, that Casey isn't big on the list, but I think you are assuming I haven't thought about how to address other issues because we haven't discussed it directly. Is the vibe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I came seeking your opinion about it, so thanks for your input. Hold on. I guess that's a... I mean, to be fair, based on what I'm reading so far, listen, as much as low credibility as KP has, technically this does line up with what she said in her video about the, like, her wanting to have, like, a more informed response. Technically, this doesn't disprove that, but maybe Seethe has, like, more DMs he's going to show. I assume he's probably going to show, like, more DMs here. Or is that the last one? No, I guess that's the last... Oh, no, I guess maybe there are more DMs. There's, like, a long wall of text here. So maybe there are, like, more DMs. So I don't know. I'm not seeing any discrepancy here, necessarily, unless I'm, like, missing it and it's right in front of me. But who knows?
Half the time, people have seemingly been talking her off the ledge of what she's planning to put into this damn thing. And it's worth noting that some of what was in the August draft of the response video did actually leak, because Cartoonshi would put out this tweet in reference to it. But being the professional that I am, I have saved the best for last, because I want to show you the last message I would ever receive from KP, because it is completely fucking mental. Beckett, I have now reviewed your video feeling emotionally prepared to do so, and it's clear I was working against a bias throughout the entire project. For example, my comment saying, "Are you cool with me?" was not about whether people hated me, it was about whether I felt emotionally safe in an intense moment, which I didn't. There are more examples like this in your coverage. I also believe you made ethically questionable editorial choices. Your timeline/screenshot analysis in the second video risks being toxic, given trauma memory theory, a real documented...
What the fuck? What? Oh, that is such an unhinged thing to say. Jesus Christ.
...a fact, yet you didn't hold Saber to the same standard you held Emily.
Yeah, because he's not guilty of anything. Why would he hold the same standard to him?
Something Emily herself pointed out in her video. I don't know what Saber told you off the record, but it's evident it shaped your narrative in ways I couldn't respond to. The same applies to your handling of the Casey and Henry stories.
What are you talking about? You can respond to it at any point. If you're so adamant on it being true and you have the evidence to back up, like, sexual assault allegations, then you should. Like, if text messages proving that people talked about it or something, or saying that, like, something may have happened, or, I don't know, like, a police report would help as well. Like, if you gotta go to the fucking police when there's a legitimate sexual assault, I don't know. Like, any of these things could help, but I guess we're not doing that. Okay.
I barely know Henry, so what you repeated was gossip unrelated to the topic, which I couldn't clarify. If Casey or Henry want clarification on the unsupported accounts they heard, they are welcome to contact me. I'd like to just pause here for a second and highlight the fact that this crazy bitch is complaining about me apparently spreading rumors while she is leveling false rape allegations. Unfucking believable.
Oh my god. This woman is so fucking insane. Oh my god. This is one of the saddest fucking human beings ever. False rape accusations, nearly 40 still living with their parents on fucking trust fund. What a fucking loser. Jesus fucking Christ. She is completely self-sabotaging herself in this whole thing.
My weed use was framed as a stoner caricature, when in reality it was a coping mechanism for a highly triggering situation tied to my clinically diagnosed PTSD. I took the call with you to clarify that the issues of child safety in the DA games community and Saber's involvement in that was misread in your video. Instead of hearing me out, you made assumptions, painted Emily as a liar based solely on Saber's word, and her reputation applies a perfect victim bias.
No, Saberspark had more credibility than the victims that were involved, than this Emily person, and then KP, because they're both unhinged fucking weird lunatics. And I guess they decided to come out with a sexual assault like allegedly over 10 years after it happened, when Saberspark has already grown his platform by that point.
Also, a real documented effect of trauma, which is both ethically flawed and harmful. You underplayed my intelligence, dismissed my emotional state, and allowed Saber's unchallenged, off-the-record statement to influence...
What do you mean unchallenged? People fucking believed the allegations at first. Get the fuck out of here. Unchallenged.
Your betrayal of me.
Unchallenged my ass.
This reinforced the jealous girl archetype in your work, a mischaracterization. Failing to hold Saber accountable for his public lies, which I can document, signals to others that legitimate concerns will be met with gaslighting and silence. That's a danger.
This woman is fucking crazy. Jesus Christ. Holy fuck. I can see why no human being ever wants to talk to her, or any human wants to have any, like, relationship with her. This woman's a fucking psychopath.
Precedent
Jesus fucking Christ.
for victims and whistleblowers. Frankly, it was a mistake to speak to you. You took advantage of my time and openness in a difficult situation. I assumed you were a sympathetic ally, someone who would point out my mistakes, but highlight the original point of the video, the child safety. But you painted me as a hopeless fool, acting on ambition and anger, which was—
You were acting on ambition. I don't know about anger. Maybe you were anger, I don't know. But, definitely ambition. You were ambitious to grow your platform from these allegations, because you want to look good. Because there's a lot of incentive to come forward with allegations on the internet, of all places, because there's a lot of clout to gain from them.
never my intention.
It's kickstarted careers, many times.
I had clarified with Casey months before your video went live, who Saber also influenced by framing events in a way I couldn't counter beforehand. Feel free to check those screenshots. I also let you convince me Emily was purely lying, when the situation was much more complicated than that. I believe there was miscommunication on both sides, but Saber is at fault for social cue assumptions at the very least. For the record, telling someone you have a crush on them is never consent for sexual conduct, period. My hope is that in the future, you'll choose to keep what I said in mind and explore the complex states of victims by citing psychological studies and be a stronger advocate for victims rather than an uncritical amplifier for those who ask. I will be ceasing all contact with you, but have cleared Lio to speak on my behalf if additional information needs to be clarified. Now,
Oh my god. What is fucking Lio Convoy gonna say about it?
this is all obviously quite a lot to go through, so we're going to break it down into sections and talk about it a little bit because
She is just full of shit throughout all of it. You don't even need to break it down. I mean, obviously, Cope and Seethe is gonna do it here because, you know, for the video, but, like, honestly, Cope and Seethe, even if you didn't break it down, if the video just ended here, I'd fucking believe you. This woman's unhinged. I totally believe you. You already have, like, more credibility than she does.
my god, KP is out of her fucking mind. I actually don't know quite how to respond to somebody this delusional, but I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm going to begin by just repeating myself, because I feel that's the only way that I might somehow get through to KP. Saberspark actually has evidence. Not only that, he went to the extent of pulling his house apart, looking for old hard drives, and actually putting his wallet to work, trying to gather more evidence to prove his innocence.
That's fucking crazy. Like, he literally fucking went through old phones and old, like, storage and everything, and just went through, like, he literally went through, like, a lot of house storage just to prove his innocence. That's also very heartbreaking that he has to literally fight an uphill battle like this just to prove his innocence against false sexual assault allegations. It honestly fucking angers me. It's like, people talk about power dynamics on the internet all the time, but, like, I don't see a single person talking about the power dynamic between an accuser and a big content creator. The big content creator often has a lot to lose because they built the fucking platform, and in some cases, they can be audience captured, so whenever some of their audience hears about an allegation, sometimes they don't look into it. They just fucking blindly believe it, and they stop watching that person, or they, like, stop associating with them in any meaningful capacity. But the accuser, regardless of what happens to them, even if the public opinion, like, recognizes them as a fucking liar, they can still live in the real world and just be totally fine. And even if they succeed at it, they get to grow a fucking platform off of it. You know, we talk about power dynamics all the time, but that power dynamic doesn't seem to get that much attention, I've noticed.
He shouldn't have to do this, by the way. The burden is on you guys, and you guys have no proof. You're just leveling false allegations against somebody. You are not in the right here. You're actually the villain. Frankly, what you've done to Saberspark is abusive. This is, and I will repeat myself from the first video, one
Yeah, I honestly don't disagree with you here.
of the worst things you can do to another human being. But moving on to the section about weed and me painting KP as some sort of stoner archetype, I didn't paint you as a stoner, KP. You said this in our first conversation.
Wrong chat, KP.
Um.
You gave me the screen cap instead of the chat.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna lie, I might have taken an edible before this because this is just so fucking hard to get through.
As for
Okay. Great. So she's a woman nearly in her 40s, and she's also a pothead. Cool. Lovely. Listen, I don't have anything against people who smoke weed, but, like, I feel like... I think there's a stereotype for people who either smoke weed or eat edibles. Like, you don't necessarily have to smoke it. People who eat edibles or smoke weed who are... intelligently, they're not as, like, up there. I know that's a stereotype. That doesn't apply for everybody. So, again, but still. I feel like this is... I feel like there's a level of truth in that stereotype.
this beginning part of the next section, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not really sure what KP means here. I don't know whether she just misphrased something, but this sentence doesn't make a lot of sense to me, which helpfully brings me on to talking about KP's intelligence. I'd ask you to note that KP constantly highlights the fact she feels people speak down to her, and I've just got to be honest
It's a victim complex.
here. The reason people treat you like an idiot, KP, is because you are, in fact, an idiot.
I saw that coming from a mile away. And it's probably because I think the same thing. Because, yeah, KP, you are a fucking moron. And you deserve to be treated as... That's why people treat you as one. If you're going to be a moron, people are going to treat you like a moron.
I'm actually not trying to be mean here. You're just kind of dumb. I mean, let's...
Cope and Seethe is so brutal here. I think what makes him extra brutal here is not that he's not even, like, trying to insult her. He's just fucking telling her this in, like... It's just this is brutal. Cope and Seethe is, like, literally... Like, there's a dead body, and Cope and Seethe has, like, taken a fucking 52 caliber machine gun and just shot the fucking body dead. Or 50 cal machine gun, I should say, not 52 cal.
Be honest, what sort of a freak puts jealous girlfriend archetype into an angry Discord note? The only way KP can even process reality is by talking about it like it's a fucking TV show. KP is completely disconnected from reality.
I think she's got main character syndrome. That's probably the term that you're looking for.
Normally this would just be very funny, but she's constantly accusing people of serious crimes, which sort of tints that perspective a little bit. Finally, let's just talk about her takes around Saberspark and Emily. The truth is that KP cannot believe Saberspark is innocent. He must be guilty of something. In her most recent response video...
Yeah, because the fact that she looks like she looks really bad for falsely accusing a man of sexual assault, and so that's why she's constantly trying to double down to make it herself seem like she came from a good place. This completely fucks up her story, by the way. I watched her first video. All of this completely screws up her, like, narrative about, hey, my intention was good with this allegation. I wanted to do the right thing. This completely fucks that up, by the way. Like, this whole thing, like, this anger against Cope and Seethe that she's showing here, it just completely removes that narrative.
KP makes the insane claim that Saberspark is abusive for wanting Emily to take a pregnancy test.
His own admission of trying
That's
to...
crazy. How dare you fucking check if you're pregnant? You're not allowed to know if you're pregnant. You're supposed to not know if you're pregnant at all. You're supposed to have a child in your first, second trimester or whatever, and you can't get an abortion until it's the child has grown significantly. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to get a pregnancy test to see if you have a child.
A woman to take a pregnancy test against her will is not seen as a violation of consent, privacy, and bodily autonomy, but instead as a horrible event.
Wait, what the fuck? This was in her old video? Wait, how did I not catch this? Was I, like, responding to something else? Did I not catch this part? Oh my fucking god, that's actually so bad. Oh, how the fuck did I not catch this?
He was made a victim of by the girl he had targeted.
Which is further fuel to the fire that this woman has never had a long-term partner.
Yep. Dude, this woman is so fucking antisocial.
And finally, KP's sign-off note to me, asking me to cite psychological studies and be a stronger advocate for victims. Well, on the psychological studies side, as I do not have a qualification in psychology, I think I'll give that one a miss, rather than trying to give a layman's interpretation. I think we have enough of that on YouTube, if I'm being completely honest. But I do want to talk about KP's motivations. As she notes here, many people have accused her of clout chasing.
A lot of
She definitely is. There's no other reason she would come forward with this. She definitely, like, if you look at her channel's doing fucking terribly. It's awful. It's kind of pathetic.
my intent with the video and what I chose to platform in it was assumed. Concerns to me that
Yeah, right.
are so much legitimate were and continue to be brushed off as clout chasing or jealous woman scorn mentality.
Now, I personally do not believe that KP only did this to get some clout. Though it is true from my own conversations with her, she clearly feels a little inadequate and like her life hasn't quite gone the way she planned. No, I think
Yeah, I mean, it's not difficult to connect the dots, especially if you look at her YouTube channel. She has like 123,000 subscribers and can only like reach 5k views on a good day.
reasons are much more simple. KP is a deeply vindictive woman. She didn't do any of this because she cares about victims. She did it because KP feels like everyone else passed her by. And the reasons can't be her. What remains of her incredibly fragile ego won't allow her to accept that. In KP's worldview, her channel failed because Chris told a story about her one time, or maybe Saberspark twisted people against her, when the reality is far more simple. KP, your content just about got by when you were dealing with the brony community, but you have nothing to offer a modern day viewer, which is perhaps the greatest irony of this entire drama from your perspective. Regardless of the outcome, positive or negative, it wouldn't have actually helped you. Nobody was watching beforehand, and going forward, nobody's watching in the future. ILoveKimPossibleALot is a fascinating relic of an older time on YouTube, when people who didn't really have any talent could build some kind of a fan base just based off the fact that there wasn't much competition. It's undeniable that KP saw the response to a Lily Orchard video, the first video in a very, very long time.
I don't fucking know who Lily Orchard is. I don't know who this person is. They're saying it's an abuser. I already don't believe KP. I already don't believe her. Like, why would I believe anything KP says after everything? Like, you frame her as an abuser, but I don't believe her. I already don't believe her. Cope and Seethe, you don't have to clarify anymore. I already don't believe her, because it's coming from KP.
Time that gained any kind of traction, and decided that that might be a viable route forward for her. I have no idea what the future holds for this chick, but after a debacle like this, it's certainly not on YouTube. Now,
I would say try to get a real job, but I don't even think that would save KP. I feel like she's pushing 40 and she still lives with her parents, and she's not willing to do anything meaningful in her life, so I think KP's just a lost cause. I think we just gotta accept that she's just a fucking lost cause.
this is obviously a lot more ranty than something I'd put out normally as structured content, but I have to be honest, I'm just really sick of this woman. KP is infuriating to deal with, and after watching this whole thing unfold for months now, seeing this 10-minute piss-poor response kind of just threw me over the edge. There is, however, one last thing I want to discuss from her video before we move on.
So moving forward, how can we, as the online community, do better? What
We could start by making sure we don't listen to people like you anymore. That's how we can start.
changes can we make to improve child safety or our fandom spaces? What kind of conversations should we be having? How about power dynamics and fandom spaces and the people that abuse them?
I don't give a fuck about power dynamics. I'm sorry. Every time people talk about power dynamics online, it is some of the dumbest shit I've seen in my whole fucking life. It's like people are so stupid when they talk about power dynamics, like, all the fucking time. I don't care. Power dynamics exist between, if you go on film sets, director and the actors. There's a power dynamic there. There's power dynamics between you and your boss. There's power dynamics between you and your teacher. There's power dynamics between someone who's like a veteran, who's like a higher rank in the military, versus like a rookie who's like a private or something. There's power dynamics there. There's power dynamics between someone who makes more money than you. There's power dynamics between famous people and non-famous people. That's typically what people talk about when they have these stupid-ass fucking conversations. There is a difference between a power dynamic existing and then you liking that person because they have more power over you, versus that bigger person leveraging, having that power dynamic and then leveraging that power against you, right? So if that person who has the bigger power dynamic says, hey, if you don't have sex with me, I will fucking leak your nudes or something, that's an abuse of a power dynamic. That's wrong, and that's predatory, right? But then if he says, like, hey, if you do have sex with me, I will give you a platform, and I will make you famous with me, that's an abuse of a power dynamic, and that's wrong, right? No one has these conversations correctly on the internet. Groupies have been a thing forever. Like, they've existed for decades, right? And no one says anything about groupies. Whenever people talk about power dynamics, they never use this same argument for people in the real world. Because if power dynamics are automatically predatory, then every single celebrity that exists is a predator, by that logic. That's silly. That's fucking silly logic, and that's not a realistic viewpoint to have. It's unrealistic. It's a very, very childish perspective to have, just being honest.
Creators turning their fan bases into dating pools, grooming behaviors passed off as normal internet interactions. These were the kinds of conversations I was intending to spark with my last video. This was my intent. And with the
I don't believe you, but okay.
the end of the video, I'd like to close off with a note about accountability. Throughout the whole ordeal, I have seen a lot of people...
You doubled down on this whole video. I don't give a shit about your quote-unquote accountability. You could take it and shove it straight up your nose. Ha! What did you think I was going to say there?
attributing my lack of response to mean a lack of accountability, that I was avoiding the controversy and that I was trying to erase or ignore it. Something I invite the audience to think about is what accountability is, what it looks like, and what it isn't. Someone jumping to respond as soon as possible or through as many avenues as possible is not indicative of taking accountability, especially if that response is to
Yeah, sounds like you should take your own advice.
victimize/murder yourself in the face of accusations and criticism. True accountability is stating whether or not you did something on its face, regardless of any intentions or effect, and without excusing yourself or attacking the accuser. Example, I made the original video. It was bad, and I understand that. Jumping to dismiss
I don't think you do.
someone as cloud chasing and trying to justify why what happened isn't the word they're using is not accountability. It's obfuscation
my
and defense,
God.
and you didn't need to defend something that didn't happen. Anyway, this was heavy.
It is criminal that KP is so lazy that after years of being on YouTube, she can't even read a script properly. She has had 4 months to make this video, and that was the best take? Are you fucking kidding me? As for what she actually says here, KP is incapable of taking any kind of accountability. It is laughable that she thinks she can start a conversation or in some way dictate how other people should be acting. I like the way she invites the audience to consider what accountability is. KP, I'd like to invite you to consider what accountability is. Not to mention the fact that she is, by going after Saberspark, once again blaming the victim. God, this chick is just vile. No wonder all her friends distance from her.
So honestly, facts. Like, normally that's brutal, but honestly, she fucking deserves it. This woman's terrible.
And with that, I think I have gone over everything I wanted to cover. Thanks for joining my rage-induced ranting. I promise that the next video I make will be, you know, not done over the course of a single night. I do have a couple more in the works, so I have been taking a little bit of a break recently. You can expect to see some of those appearing over the coming weeks. So, if you've enjoyed this for whatever reason, please remember to like and subscribe. And thank you to all our current subscribers and members, particularly those of you at molding level. The Yule, Stevio5, Ragemonger, Mr. Gamer, Viper Sensor, Juice Snail House, K-Hutcast, Sapient Pearwood, Kai Rise, Rocky BB, Nim the Gudra, Advocate Shell, Base Toz, Seavance, Letters of Sky, Rotting Brain, Dr. Zeus Hippo, Stationary Name, and Star Sprinter. And let me leave you with this. One thing I said to KP through our conversations was that if she actually took some kind of accountability and apologized, worked at her content, maybe people would forgive her and she could move on.
No. I'm not open to that idea. She tried to ruin a man's life with false allegations, and I don't think she's a good person, and I would invalidate her at every turn. She can go fuck herself, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not open to the conversation of forgiveness right now.
I don't understand why she refuses to do that. But maybe in the future we'll see more insanity out of her. You never know. But I think the word
Thank you so much, Brexit Geezer, for this video. I appreciate it.
entitled comes up a lot. I don't...
Yeah, and narcissist. No, it's just like being punched in the chest, but yeah.
As always, more content
No, okay, so is she a masochist, I guess? Okay, crazy.
to come. Peace.
Oh, wait, no, I forgot. KP wouldn't be able to explore that because she's never fucking had a human being in her life ever, and she's never had, she's probably never seen a penis in her life. Oh, yeah, I mean, that was a total fucking domination from Cope and Seed's part. KP is just completely shattered her credibility.